hello, hi, hey. Damn it, I gotta be better at doing this. Hey, welcome everybody to another glorious episode of Jeff Has Cool Friends. My name is Jeff May. That's half of the title right there, folks, or a quarter of the title. Here comes the rest of it here. I have a very cool friend with me today. I have a very, very talented man about town, a man who does very many things. He's been a podcast producer. He has been in music production. You might know him if you ever go to conventions as a very, very talented artist and an amazing toy maker, Kickstarter, as I found out. The man has been involved in a lot of this stuff and just unbelievable artist, Rocom. How's it going, bud?
That was a beautiful intro. Thanks. It's funny hearing things about yourself when it's listed to bear through it. And just be
Yeah, it
like,
is a
oh
little
yeah,
embarrassing,
I
right? You're
did
like,
do all that
I
stuff.
do
Oh, I
that.
did do that. Yeah. Thanks for having me. We're kind of like brand new friends. I think we met maybe a year ago, 2 years ago now.
I think we
Um,
met at either I think we've met or solidified our friendship at either Designer Con in
in Anaheim.
Anaheim or in Pasadena at
Oh,
the
Monster Palooza.
Monster
Do you go? Oh,
Palooza.
I love that show. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I bought the piece that I got from you, the Mighty Maniacs piece, which I
yeah.
absolutely love. I
Oh,
got that
thanks.
from you at Monster Palooza.
Okay, that's awesome.
And I think that's when I was working the Tweeterhead booth and I was walking around.
Oh, that's right, because Igo did that year.
Oh yeah, friend, former guest of the show and always cool
Oh,
friend
cool.
David
He's been
Igo.
on.
So what you guys don't know is our conversation before this recording has just been us realizing that like our circle is almost a complete
Yeah,
circle.
it's
Like
just the same people.
we do not branch too far outside of the Venn diagram here, which is
Yeah.
very fascinating. You make and not only that, I'm actually going to kind of give up the reason why I was like, oh, why haven't I even asked him to be on the show yet? Is that you did a piece in conjunction with guest of the show and cool friend and amazing collaborator, very talented YouTube and pop culture historian, Dan Larson.
Oh, yeah, Dan. Yes, because we share so many
You
friends.
were like,
I
who is
was
he
like,
talking
which
about?
name is he gonna say? Yes, Dan, because you missed the figure drop.
I didn't know it was I like somehow
Yeah.
it like when I say I missed it, I didn't mean it was too late. It was
No.
him saying, "Hey, these are out now," and I was like,
You're like,
how
I
did I
know
not
him.
see
Yeah,
this?
right,
And
right.
I was like, wait, you guys are working, and of course you guys are working together. Like as it boils down, and as we start to really have our career path sort of dissipate into very distilled existences, you realize like,
Mhm.
oh my God, we are so tightly connected.
Right, because it's the universe is like we're in Earth 616 or whatever,
Yeah, right.
and this is our universe, and
It's a
we
shared
share these
universe. Yeah.
characters. Yeah, yeah.
So when I saw it, it literally melted my brain a little bit because I was like, wait, I know him and I know you, and you guys are working together. And even though you live halfway across,
Oh yeah.
like
So
you live where I live, right? You live
right,
in the Los
right,
Angeles area.
right.
He lives where I'm used to be from
Oh,
in
I didn't
New
know that.
England.
Oh, cool. So you've
Yeah,
known him a very long time.
I
Did you
haven't.
know him? Oh, you did. Okay.
No, but
But
we
it's a
found out,
coincidence. Yeah.
dude, we found out like when we were talking that like we absolutely have been in the same rooms together a
Oh, right.
lot before
Yeah.
and that was back when I was a teacher. You know, like that
Okay.
was before I was in this world or anything like that, but we had
Sure.
been at the same conventions and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
it was very funny. And at one point in time, I was back in New England and I was like, hey man, like I'm like right near you. You want to grab lunch? Because we'd never officially met.
Right. It was
He
all the
actually
internet. Yeah.
he kept me alive in the pandemic basically by making really great content.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
guy is. I told him this, so I met him in person when he did WonderCon 2 years ago. We got to meet in person, but before that, he had pledged for the original Mighty Maniacs Kickstarter. So the toy line that I have, I didn't even know this. I didn't know about Dan's channel. I didn't know about Toy Galaxy or anything. He loves clear action figures.
Yeah.
Anyone knows Dan, he loves anything translucent. And so I made one called Fireface, which was just orange and yellow clear plastic action figure. Dan had purchased that, and one of my friends had messaged me saying, "Hey, I think your toy is in the back of like his video," and I was like, "Oh, cool, he got it," you know. And then there was one day where all these ads were flooding the Mighty Maniacs Instagram. And I'm like, what changed that like people found me, you know? And it's
Yeah.
because Dan had posted photos of the toy he got from the Kickstarter. And I had no idea, and that's what introduced me to that whole world. And as I do new releases, I always made sure Dan got some action figures because he's such a champion for the format.
He loves
And
an independent creator.
yeah, yeah, and he's very supportive in that manner, and I always appreciate that. And I didn't, he didn't know me. He just helped out an indie creator at the time,
Yeah.
before I had any of that stuff. And so we kept in touch from that point on. But we met in person in WonderCon, and meeting him, I told him how refreshing it was to meet a toy collector and a toy enthusiast. That I hate that I people are gonna be mad at
I
me
know
that
what
I
you're gonna
say this,
say because I
that
get
he's
this too
normal.
sometimes. Yeah, it's it look,
It's a shitty thing to say, but it's like, dude, I'm so glad you are easy to talk to, get along with, and like we don't let our collecting habits destroy us as people.
define or destroy us, I think is
Yeah.
important too. And that is to say as well too that I agree with you on that idea that they're the like
Mhm.
the that it's nice to be in this area and be able to have a conversation. It's actually one of the ways that I've developed a lot of my friendships is meeting people whose work I really admire and not being weird about it or
Mhm.
and not commodifying it, which is also a
Right,
thing where
right.
people are like, "Hey man, I love your work.
What
Sign
is
me."
the give and take here? Right,
Yeah,
right,
like
right.
what
Yeah.
like I don't try to change the dynamic. It's me just being like, "Hey man, I love your work.
Mhm.
I love that you did this. It's a really cool style that you did and I'm interested in it.
Right,
Let's hang out
right.
sometime if you want. It's fine."
Yeah.
And like it's like that kind of thing and every chunk of fandom is valid, right? And everything like that. But it is definitely a little bit tougher when people either treat you like you are a commodity or they don't treat you at all. They just kind of like
Right.
stare away or they don't make eye contact for whatever reasons they might have. But I
Sure.
do very much understand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd be as
any
diplomatic
fandom.
as possible, be like, weirdos are important too, but I get it.
Yeah, yeah. With any obsession, right? There's gonna be extreme ends of it. And yeah, it's refreshing to find people that are just as passionate,
Yeah.
as anyone else, but being very amiable and like mellow about things. And yeah. And Dan, it's funny because Dan's like, I know what you mean. Like I didn't have to explain further. He's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, we all kind of have those experiences. I mean, mine are less.
yeah.
Mine are more like because my existence is so niche that like
Yeah.
I meet a fan, twice a month or something like that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're like, I've been listening to you for 10 years. And it's more
That's
like
so
that.
cool.
So you did that. I have mine because it's funny. I posted about it and you're like, and I was like, can't believe I missed that. You messaged me and were like,
Yeah.
I'll get one to you.
I was like, "I
I
got
have
you." Yeah, yeah,
I have
yeah.
a sample.
Right.
I'll send it to you, which also contained swap out heads
Oh, I threw in some extras for you. Yeah, yeah,
of the
yeah.
character that I had bought
Oh,
for you
gotten
originally, which I
the
thought was
first
a nice little
time.
touch. Yeah. But right after you told me that, like maybe 15 minutes, Dan messaged me. He's like, I think I can get another one.
Oh,
And I was just
awesome.
like, dude, sell them. Like,
Oh, right, right,
we're
right.
good.
Yeah.
I've got one coming. I'd rather you allow that opportunity for other
Oh,
people
that's
if I
cool.
have that
Yeah.
avenue. So you guys were really a tandem good dudes to me realizing
We're
that.
like, "We gotta get Jeff one." Yeah.
But yeah, so like that was such a fascinating and interesting thing to see happen, to see you guys mix it up and to see that. And as I started to scratch the surface a little bit, it really ended up being like, oh, there's a lot going on here. Like there's a lot of interacting connections,
Oh, sure, sure. In
people
in
that
this universe of ours, yeah.
now you are currently engaged in your seventh,
6th
sixth
kit.
Kickstarter.
Right, right.
All previous five smashing successes.
Have funded, yeah. Luckily,
That's a fun way of
thankfully.
being humble.
I
Like,
no, I mean, so you do get cocky after the fourth or third, fourth one funds. You're like,
sure.
okay, I think I understand how to get something to the finish line. But the last Kickstarter we did, Betty Bones, which funded, and I love the vinyl toy. it was a new audience. I worked with Tragic Girls, an amazing artist out of Salt Lake City, Utah. She has a very amazing comic book style that kind of harkens to creepy comics, EC comics, like old horror stuff, which I
We love
love.
that. Yeah. Any of
So
those
good.
old ECs.
Yeah, there's just it's so specific, in what it looks like. And she nails that style. So I'd wanted to do a toy for her and with her for a while. And so we finally put up this Kickstarter. And I mean, she's massive, man. Like in terms of a following and people that follow her work, huge following. And so I'm like, okay, I think there's an audience here. We'll be fine. And it was a slow crawl, it was right up into the last week, I think, that we finally.
Really?
Yeah,
And is
so
that, do you think it was just because it was such a
yeah,
new,
so
like
it
a step outside of your,
yeah, for me, it was a new audience because it's not people that are getting action figures so much as like machismo stuff. Because Mighty Maniacs was before that, and that's just a big, brawny, muscly guys, and stuff. And
Mighty
this
Maniacs
one,
is considered Glios, is that right?
it is Glios, yeah, Glios
Yeah,
compatible.
and I'm going to ask you about that in a second too. But yeah,
Oh sure,
it's definitely yours. The energy that I get off of these is it's a little bit like of a Battle Beasts on steroids mixed with
yeah, yeah.
like it's what it is it seems like you've boiled down millennial nostalgia into a toy form.
That was the goal, I guess.
Is
Hopefully,
it was
yeah.
that really it? Because
Well,
that's what I
it
read when I
wasn't.
see that.
It's tough because it wasn't done in terms of like, I hope millennials like and buy this. It was more just because I'm an elder millennial, I
Same.
like I grew up with specific things. So I'm like, okay, how do I encapsulate my love for all that stuff into a line, that can also be a little bit apart from what we're used to seeing, which is aliens, robots, and stuff I love, but I wanted to see, Predator and Ghostbusters and Blade, like all these fun things we grew up with that is more this horror action genre. Like,
Yeah.
how can we bring that into Glios? And that was the original vision for Mighty Maniacs.
So like the Mighty Maniacs line, it's I don't know because like I don't know how people view this word. It like the vinyl toy world,
Mm.
the is such a unique place with a lot of very sensitive people in it. Like people are really cool, but if you're like, man, I love bootlegs, and people be like, that's not a bootleg, and you're like,
No.
yeah, okay, I get it, but like and it's like a very semantic argument.
Right. Sure. Sure.
You do create purposeful parallels
Oh yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
the
You could
things you
call them an
grew.
homage or
Okay, so we go with an
homage or
homage, an
or
homage piece.
whatever.
Yeah,
But you're right. The what you're calling it, it's still a bootleg as well. It's whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
I there's definitely I created archetypes where it can be probably easy to create another look that parallels something you've seen in comics, on TV and movies or whatever. I think that's such an easy, quick connection for people that don't immediately buy into your creation or your idea, because I do have a baseline of characters that may have been inspired by existing people, but it's its own thing, like
yeah.
I'm trying to definitely create a world that has a story in it. Whether people are interested in that story or not is separate. They'll still collect action figures because they look cool or they may be fun.
Well,
But
that's what I got. That's how what sold me. What it
yeah,
wasn't necessarily the complete rich history and backstory of the Mighty
right,
Maniacs
right,
line, which
right,
is
right,
still awesome. But I was a little too late to knowing all about that lot. Like, I came in
right,
a little bit
right.
later than
Sure,
normal. But
sure.
instead, I was like, well, that thing looks like a really sick Ghost Rider
Right, right.
homage, and I
Yeah,
need it. And like
right.
that's really what it came down to. I was like, no, 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 I just need this toy because it looks awesome.
Cool. Thanks, man.
And like
I
that's a great thing for you to do. Like it's brilliant.
I it's okay, so it's so tough for it's the artist alley. I don't know if conundrum's the right word, or maybe the double-edged sword of an artist alley mentality. So, artist alley obviously
Oh
from
yeah.
going to conventions forever. It's an area of conventions where it's all artists set up with their prints and whatever. And there's always this line between choosing, are you going to sell prints of Deadpool and Dragon Ball Z and
And
stuff,
make a fortune.
yeah, and sell all day, or have an IP, something you created and is truly yours, and have people pass it by, and it'll take
Yeah.
those few gems that care about that stuff to stop, pay attention, and buy it, you know? So there's a weird balance of like, do you go all in and cash out and sell all your Deadpool prints, or do you try and really move your art forward? So for me, I think it's trying to just put a foot in both, you know, worlds.
It's
Like,
brilliant, yeah, because like you've made it so that you can't be ignored, which I think is really great, but you're also making what you want. And I think with art, and this is something that I tell people a lot when they ask me about podcasting, but it
mhm,
also works in stand-up comedy, it also works in art, which is if you make anything with the strict idea that you want to profit off of it, you will fail.
yeah,
I
yep,
do not, you will either
yeah.
fail or you will be very, very unfulfilled when you finally succeed, when you succeed.
You'll hate what you're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah,
And I've
yeah.
been there. And so when people ask me about podcasts, I'm like, make the podcast that you want to listen to.
Mhm.
Don't and it's like and for real though, like, and a lot of it, it's like, it's always like three comedians talking about the state of comedy. And you're like,
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
kind of tired of this, especially with like you're just an open mic comic and you're probably a great guy and very funny, but like you're not gonna get a foothold. Like,
Right.
what's
Yeah,
your hook?
who's clamoring to hear this, right?
I've had people ask me that, people that were very close to me, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Can I offer some suggestions to help?" And I told them, and they were like, no. And then they crashed and burned so hard, and they couldn't
Sure,
figure it
yeah.
out.
Right.
And I was like, "I told you what would help you, and you refused to listen because you don't respect me." Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you
I
failed.
I'd I imagine it's very hard for a creator or an artist to also be will in LA or you know, whatever field of like creating things, you have to learn to be every role, right? You need to know how to be your own marketing person. You have to know how to be a business person. And as a creative, you rarely care or think about that stuff at all. And so
Or
not
know how to
knowing that
do
world,
it.
yeah, at all. Yeah. And I think that's the saddest part is when you lack understanding of those things, you're almost set up to fail because it's either going to be lightning in a bottle and what you wanted to set out to make, it actually has an audience and a place, you know, to be fed out or dished out to people, you know. But if audience to me is the most important thing. If there's no audience, your art will always fail because it can't exist without someone seeing it and appreciating it.
Yeah, right.
Um,
One of the things I find very interesting, because I want to circle back to the Kickstarter. And
mhm.
I think what's the best way for people to access it? Because I tried coming up with the actual URL and me
Oh
saying
yeah.
it out loud, we would all just fall apart. So should I
Oh
send people
right.
to your Instagram?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's your pinned, the link in your
The
bio
link, right, right. It's
is your Kickstarter, which is still going. So some really nice surprises when I checked out your Kickstarter page.
oh
Two
cool.
two things, right? One, you have an artist edition trading card set, which I'm absolutely going to
Right.
fund and then
You are the trading card
reveal
guy,
on I Must
yeah.
Break You.
Awesome.
I absolutely am going to do that. But you have an enamel pin by one of my best friends, Tom
Right,
Whalen.
Tom, yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Whalen, who did the previous version of this show and will come back on and do this show as well, whom I have known since 2006.
Awesome.
And actually, one of the people that I was going to say when you were talking about like Artist Alley and all that
Oh,
stuff,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
another part was him trying to find footing with his art style,
Oh,
which
okay.
was,
Oh,
but
yeah,
in a
because 'cause you've probably
pre-Mondo world,
seen right, right.
he was very, it was tabling at cons and just,
Mhm.
and that's how I found him is we just liked his style, him and Dave
Yeah.
Pablo, Scott Derby and Pat McMullen, all these guys, Ian Globinger, like that consortium of guys. And we were like, I just
Mhm.
like, not only did I like their stuff, but I actually liked them as people. And it made me
Yeah,
like their
yeah.
stuff more, which people seem to gloss over is that if you're a likable person, your art will actually seem better to the people you talk to, which is
Right,
a
right,
weird
right.
psychological trick. I
Yeah.
don't know how many times I've met an artist whose work I love, and then they
And
were
you
an
meet
asshole to me, and I'm like, I don't know, it's not that great. But one of the
Yeah.
pledges that you can do is you can get an enamel pin by Tom Whalen, and that's a simple $10
Yeah, yeah.
pledge,
I
which
always try
his Mondo pins, some of them go for like hundreds of dollars.
right, right. They're great.
Yeah.
I gosh, when I before I met Tom, yeah, I was buying those pins, you know? It's so easy to just want those things, you know. His style is so good. So Tom was another one where my very first Kickstarter in 2018, I was trying to do a vinyl toy called Death Jaguar, which was this homage to Jet Jaguar from Godzilla, one of my
Perfect. He's
favorite
a huge
robots.
fan.
Yeah, yeah, he is. And so he found it and he immediately backed it. And I was like, no shit, Tom Whalen just backed my Kickstarter, you know? And I had already known his work. So I reached out to him and I thanked him for backing. And I was like, would you be open to designing a Death Jaguar enamel pin? And then I'll throw it into the, Kickstarter and we can do it. And he immediately said, yep. And, he sent me art. Tom is so easy to work with. I love that guy. And so also with yesterday's with the enamel pins, he's
I
done
was
it.
going to get to that next.
Yeah, he's done a ton of design work for that too.
Yeah.
We can get into it.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
that's
we
how I
will.
met
That's
Tom.
literally on my thing that I have is Kickstarter, and then under it, it's yesterday.
Tom is a great segue because I've definitely reached out to him for designs for that stuff.
I'm gonna say that Tom's not a segue enough though, because I still want to stay on what you have offering on the Kickstarter, because
Oh
I
yeah, yeah. Let's
actually
go
am
through it.
I want to look through that. Not and this isn't an infomercial. I don't work
Mhm.
for HSN. My friend Natasha
Right.
does. I do not. Great job, by the way, if you want to live in Florida.
You
It's
have to live there to do that job?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
because
for
you have
that
to go.
studio.
Yeah, you go
Right.
in
You
to
have to
host
be
and
in their
stuff. Like I
studio.
think it's
Yeah, yeah.
Clearwater or something like that. I forget where it is in
Mhm.
Florida, but that's a good gig.
Yeah.
So like I looked at it, and there was a number of figures, and you can literally back individual figures.
Yeah, you can build your own cart, which is kind of it's easier now with Kickstarter doing this add-on thing. So if you want one character, you can already back that. But if you want to cherry pick and you're like, I love this guy, but I really like this one, after you pledge a reward, there's a list of figures at the end called add-ons, and you can
Mhm.
just add whatever you like. So even if you just wanted the trading cards to check out, it's $15. You get that, and you want Tom and Dan Larson also did a pin.
That's the next thing I was going to
Yeah,
say, because
yeah,
I'm looking at
and
the
you can
base
get
set
that.
pledge line,
Right.
which has enamel pin by Dan Larson on it. Yeah, I actually I looked through, and they go anywhere between $20 and $25 per
Per
toy,
figure.
but you also do
Yeah.
2 packs, which brings it down to 40.
Yeah, so
Two.
it's 20, yeah. Because
There's like
some
little battle
figures are
packs.
25 or yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah. But
so
they
knock a
vary
couple
up
bucks
in,
of
you know, yeah,
yeah.
because you have like battle packs, which you have like the red battle pack and the blue battle pack, which comes with two.
Right.
Right?
And
Yeah.
and that's meant to those share color palettes so that you can really use the Glios system in switching parts around and building. And so for any listeners that don't know Glios, it's an amazing system developed by Matt Dowdy. And it's Legos for action figures, essentially. You can disassemble these things, rebuild them however you want. And there's a dozen or so Glios makers. We all have independent toy lines, but if you collect them, you can break these things apart and just build them all together. So
Yeah.
it's a big part of the Mighty Maniacs toy line. So those battle packs, yeah, it's a great way to get two figures that should work pretty well together when you
Yeah.
mix up the parts. Yeah.
And then you have like the entire set, right? The whole pack, which is
Right. The
it's only
base set.
175, the base set,
Yeah, you
which
get 8
has
action figures, accessory pack, trading card set, 2 enamel pins. What am I missing? I think that's it.
you're
Um
missing the coloring page PDF, the theme set MP3,
and the
two
theme
enamel
song.
trading card set, ancient weapons pack, which you didn't bring up, and then the action figures.
Right.
And like that rips. Like that's an awesome deal.
I hope so. People are used to going into Target in the toy aisle and you get a Wolverine action figure for 20-24 bucks, and it's a 6 to 7 inch action figure. And so for me selling these little collectibles that are 3 to 4 inches tall, it's tough to get that audience to buy into it, because they're like, why would I spend this much for this or whatever. But
Well, that
um
set is
mhm.
the second most ordered thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is. Well, yeah, because Dan's is the highest by far, his tier.
The Thrasher, the exclusive
The
Thrasher.
exclusive Thrasher, yeah, it's the clear green. It's just a pretty looking figure. If you're on a budget, it's a great way to go.
Yeah, he looks like a kind of a killer croc
Yeah.
king beast with that. One of the things I really liked about the two packs too is it did have that sort of battle beast energy where it would come with two
Yes,
guys that you could kind of
yeah, mix and
together.
make more of a Battle Beast type. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So these toys they run about what, three point is this like GI Joe, a Real American Hero
There are
scale 3
three.
point?
It's tough because I've created my own scale, because they're a little bit morphed and kind of like have this stockier.
The He-Man build with the GI Joe height.
Yeah, yeah, but smaller. And so yeah, GI Joe's 3 3/4. These are about that, I guess. It's their 3 to 3.5 inch.
Yeah.
I like to say they're 3 inch figures, but I think someone and did a toy review of Dan's figure and he measured it to be about 3.5 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a smaller, I love smaller collectibles like that. They were really big in the 90s, I feel like. But it's so easy to collect them and show them off without taking up a bunch of shelf space. If you
Yeah.
want, you could throw them in a bin somewhere and they'll be fine.
Yeah, put them in or in like a tackle box.
Yeah, yeah, and
This has they
break
have
them out
real,
when you want to mess with them,
but
right?
they are gorgeous. They're like really fun, and I just I love the Dan Larson one. I love the Flaming Skull. Is that his
Yeah,
name?
yeah. Fireface is
Fireface
yeah,
is
yeah,
the
from the original one.
not Ghost Rider.
No,
Legally
yeah,
distinct
it's
action
Rider.
figure. Rider
Uh,
motorcycle ghost, we'll call him.
Yeah, yeah. I think that colorway version I called it Fire Chopper was my bootleg name for the
Perfect.
figure.
I love that. Do you yourself do you collect like vinyl toys as well?
I was much heavier into it after making them. It just kind of takes over every space you have
Yeah.
available. It's like the stuff you're making. So I'll support friends when they release toys, but I haven't, but before that, yes, I was really into gosh, it's funny because I catch myself, I'm like, "Wait, no, you just bought that thing and you buy those things." So, Godzilla vinyl, I really love.
Oh, do you like
I've
vintage
chilled
or do you
down on it.
like the have you seen the
Yeah.
like the Peter Santamaria stuff? The
Yeah, yeah,
Attack
yeah, Attack
Peter,
Peter, right. I
also
collect,
a friend of the show.
yeah, yeah, he's a really sweet guy.
I have his first Godzilla vinyl, his first Sofubi that he did with
The
Mondo.
black and white.
Looks like his block print.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
The way they pulled that off, man, like, have you met Hector before at Mondo? He's, in
I've
charge of collectibles.
Yeah, I think so. I've met
Yeah, plenty
pretty
of
much
those.
everyone,
Yeah, yeah.
especially when I
Uh,
worked at the old place. We were really tight.
right. You're
So
always, yeah, yeah, in the same circles. Hector is a head of creative for collectibles at Mondo, and I remember when he told me the process of creating that black and white kind of look on the toy because Peter's style is so distinct.
yeah,
And
for those of you
creating
that
that
are
in 3D.
somehow unfamiliar and haven't listened to the
Mhm.
Attack Peter episode of this show, he does lino cut, very Polynesian sort of style looking prints of pop culture stuff, and it looks absolutely amazing, but it's so unique.
When you learn his process, it makes you appreciate those prints so much. He hand cut every piece of, ink or relief you see in the final image.
He tried
And
giving me one of the
oh yeah, the one original
pieces,
lino
and I just
cuts.
looked at him and I was like, dude, I wouldn't feel good not knowing what to do with this.
Right,
Like it's
right.
so cool. And I was just like
Yeah,
so rad. I'm like, dude, what if you need to like rerun these or something?
right,
It's that
right.
like super special paper from like Thailand uh
Oh, right, that he
that
uses
he
to
puts his
print on.
prints on. Yeah.
So cool, yeah.
Yeah. Like
Um,
purposefully imperfect, where it has
right, right, where the flaws are part of the art or
yeah.
whatever, yeah.
Now, funny story, because we're going to talk more because we got a lot more to talk about too. But a great thing is if you head on over to patreon.com/Jeff May, you can actually be a producer of the show. It's very exciting. What that means is you pay a very small amount of money, and I say your name on a not so small podcast, which is I think that's a pretty good deal. So I would love to give a shout out and a thank you to the following producers. And again, head on over to patreon.com/Jeff May. There's a lot of tiers of a lot of different levels. You can get trading cards in the mail. You can get all sorts of really cool stuff in there. And you can get stuff in the mail. You can produce different shows. You can produce this. You can produce Nerd. You can produce both. It's fine. So I want to give a big shout out. And then maybe you and I can have a little conversation about something if it comes out. For example, we'd like to shout out a big thank you to producer Dan Hackroyd. We'd like to shout out Normal Man Andrew McGuire. Check out this month's Nerd with Dre and Jeff, to which he says I can say whatever I want here. We just did a Real American Hero. We're doing toy reboots. We're doing toy reboots. So like we do a monthly show of Nerd. We've been doing a lot of movies, so we did toy reboots. A Real American Hero. Next month, I think we're doing Kenner's Power of the Force from 1995 Star Wars line. with
I
the
didn't,
Jack Luke Skywalker.
they're bringing that back?
No, we're gonna
Oh,
do
you just
predictions
discussed
on
them.
them, yeah.
Okay,
And
got it.
then we're gonna do, I think, Masters of the Universe 2000X.
Oh, great.
So
Awesome.
that's this season of Nerds. So you're gonna want to check that out. And this month's episode is Adam Todd Brown on us talking with a real American hero. So it's very exciting. Shout out to Watch Me use these prehensile nipples to pick up pennies off the floor. Check out the Oatmeal Savage. You an oatmeal guy?
Oh, wow. That's a huge question because for about 2 or 3 years, I would make instant oatmeal and talk to my cell phone camera for about 5 minutes. And I called it oatmeal with Rocom. And I would just post it to my friends and they loved it. And then
So
I felt like it was.
you are the oatmeal.
I'm an oatmeal guy. I used to be, at least. I feel like I can't do carbs like that as much,
I
but there's a lot of sugar in the instant oatmeal
That's
too.
actually what I was going to tell you.
Yeah.
I love the Quaker oatmeal instant packets until you
So
realize
tasty,
that it's
dude.
essentially mushy candy.
Yeah, it's dessert.
And you're like, oh,
100%.
that apples
That's
and cinnamon, though.
oh, the best.
I
So
love
good.
those freeze-dried, rehydrated apples. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
The
so good.
easiest thing to chop up and like
Yeah.
eat.
And yet I'm like, nope, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Give it to me freeze dried, please.
Yeah. Shout out to Call Me Sean or whatever. Shout out to the Enchanted Wandering Unpierced Left Nipple Cider served at room temperature. Shout out to him. He actually came to Mint on Card recently, all the way from San Bernardino. So shout out to them. That's a true trooper, right?
Real trek.
Shout out to mashed potatoes or the brioche buns of side dishes. I need to explain that one, I think. I think those are two very overrated foods in the food world.
In general.
I can
Okay.
see the brioche bun aspect, but people get very angry at the mashed potatoes part.
Because it's a cousin to French fries, and you can't talk on French fries, right? So
I'll talk on French fries. Have you ever been to In-N-Out and gotten French fries?
People hate those French fries. I knew a girl that swore by them, loved In-N-Out French fries.
She's a bad person.
I actually ended up being kind of a bad person. So
yeah. No, you could
you
easily
knew
predictable.
You knew from the fries, yeah.
Once you hear that information, you're like,
yeah, I can't trust you.
Yeah, you're not a very
those?
trustable person. Yeah. Yeah. I just I feel like, and again, I say this a lot, so people are going to hear me say this, but I feel like mashed potatoes ain't bringing anything to the table that stuffing can't do better.
Love stuffing.
Or like
So
a
good.
mashed sweet potato, or I don't know.
I used to love it, but I've become anti sweet potato fry. The sweet potato, the sweet potato French fry. I just realized that I wanted savory out of that side of the meal. You know.
You want to know the trick? You want to know the trick to that? Sweet potato fry, ranch dressing, and buffalo sauce mixed.
Oh, do a spicy ranch.
It is a spicy ranch with a sweet potato fry.
Yeah.
It's absolutely delightful.
All right.
I'll try it. It is a great. Give it a try sometime. I will say there used to be this restaurant in Burbank called Not a Burger Stand. It was my favorite place to eat. Guy was a screenwriter. He used his nut to start a restaurant. It was going great until they tried jacking his rent up by double.
Yeah.
He had to leave.
So LA is, yeah.
So he would make these sweet potato fries with this homemade honey mustard, and the sweet potato fries he dusted with a light dusting of sugar and cinnamon.
Oh, yeah, it's dessert.
And they were like, it was like
it's gonna be delicious. Yeah.
It was like eating kind of savory French toast sticks.
Oh man,
it was pretty great.
Yeah, that sounds pretty tasty.
Crab cake sandwich I ever had. Also, it was right near Disney.
Oh, it's kind of fancy. Yeah.
Well, because he was from Maryland.
Oh, so seafood was part of his.
Do you know what? Have you ever seen the viral chalkboard of the come in and order like Macho Man, get 10% off your order, body slam?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
It is his place.
That's Not a Burger Stand. Yeah.
Awesome.
The artist of that was Leila Gonzalez, who now works for, I believe, Cartoon Network.
Oh wow.
As a character designer.
Awesome.
But it was like absolutely the best. So like that, if you've ever seen that viral chalkboard, it's that restaurant.
Okay.
And that chalkboard got me to go there in like 2013.
Oh wow.
And I ended up working there when things were really tough and I couldn't pay my bills. He would like give me shifts.
Oh, that's great.
Like working, serving and stuff like that.
So you served when you were there?
I did, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I served.
I was curious of which role you've like.
Yeah, no, he was just like,
or...
look, man, I could use an extra server. You know, people could use a Friday night off if you want to come.
Yeah.
and if you need
Perfect.
this, like do it.
Yeah.
I was like, you have no idea how much this will.
Man, I love when that happens where however you get to where you're going, you find this restaurant and then you end up really liking the people that, created the place and then you automatically create a relationship. One of my favorite sandwich places down in South Orange County is called Dad's, and it's so hard for me to not go there like every other day
Right? Yeah.
because their sandwiches are incredible. They make these really good soups but I'd go in so often that they're so nice like the free chocolate chip cookie every now and again, even though I shouldn't eat
So,
that.
you're like
Like,
40 pounds heavier than you were before you discovered the
right,
place.
right, because they're so nice, right?
Dude, I honestly, I've had this conversation with people before. Like, I judge restaurants by flavor and
Hmm.
service. Like, I don't necessarily buy into the emperor's new clothes of like the ambiance and whatever, or
Sure,
the
right, right.
line outside the door. Like, I
Yeah,
don't care about that. Like, I very much distill it down to, is your service good and is the food good?
yeah,
And so,
yeah.
like, sometimes, like, there are places, like there's a restaurant in Burbank called Los Amigos, which is
Hmm.
like just like your run of the mill Mexican restaurant. Doesn't necessarily stand out except for two things.
Hmm.
One, their food always tastes good, but two, the service is unbelievable. You will never be allowed to have an empty glass.
Right. They're just on top of
They're
it, like
on it at
non
all
yeah.
times. And they give you like the bean dip and the salsa to start the meal. And
Hmm.
like as soon as that last chip goes in, they're like, "You want more?"
Yeah,
Like
right,
they're like, man,
right,
they
and
come
you,
out of the
like, didn't know they were
shadows.
there, you're like, "Yeah." That
And
is the funniest for that or if you're not looking at your cup for a second, and then you look back at it and it's full.
the phantom fill. Oh, holy the phantom
Dude,
fill.
I don't know how they do that, it's incredible, yeah.
Yeah. I was on a date, not to brag, but to like a pretty fancy like Thai place. And
Okay.
like it like the service wasn't particularly good. And
Mm.
like the date I was with was like she could tell that I was getting annoyed. And I'm trying not to be, like
Right,
I'm trying to
right.
be chill.
But it
And I
does
just
bother you, yeah.
and I just told her, I was like, look, like I've worked in food service.
Mhm.
I've worked in retail. Like, even if you're having a bad day, you don't take it out on people.
Right.
Like I have done nothing wrong to this person. And like we ordered some things and they just didn't show up. And the guy's like, no, you didn't. And in my head, I'm like, I wanted to be like, why are you trying to gaslight me about ordering? Like,
Right.
yes, I did. Like, just
Right. Wouldn't you want to sell more food to me?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you think I'm gonna get mad at you and tip you less because you screwed up an order? No, I'm
Right.
gonna do that because you lied about it.
Right.
And like the food wasn't even that good.
Yeah, right, right.
I
Where
was
where
like,
to boot, you're like, yeah,
I was like,
it's unwarranted.
I was like, I do better. Like fancy restaurants, I don't mind at all as long as the food
Uh,
tastes good and the service is good. Like,
right, right. Give me a reason for that extra dollar,
yeah,
yeah.
but if your word of mouth is the reason that, it's if that's the whole reason people want
Yeah.
to go, no thanks.
Or an Instagram post or whatever, yeah.
Dude, somebody was telling me like their favorite restaurant, like Cardi B
Posted about it, and now you
posted about
can
it in North Hollywood. Like someone
yeah.
posted about it, then Cardi B did. He's like, so now it can't be my favorite restaurant anymore because I can't get in.
Right, right. Is
You have to
Burgers Never
go.
Say Die still there? Have you
Maybe.
been there yet?
I
It's in
haven't.
Los Feliz. I
In
love
Los
that
Feliz. I
burger.
don't know.
Oh,
I
okay.
I haven't been out to Los Feliz a lot.
In a little while, okay.
Yeah, and if I go out to that area, like the Los Feliz, or like if I'm going out towards like the
Silver Lake or yeah,
Silver
right,
Lake
right.
area, I'm probably gonna want to eat at Triple Beam Pizza
Okay, I haven't had that.
because
I don't
they have
think.
some of the best pizza I've ever had.
Oh, awesome.
Like they're
I'll
so
have to look
good.
that
Yeah.
up. Dude, I
Um,
know what we're doing when we hang out next
dude, like
time.
honestly, because
We're
you're
gonna
down
just
in Orange
eat.
County, right?
I am, yeah, yeah.
I also, what I love eating at? I love eating
Hmm.
at downtown Disney.
Oh, no way. What do
You
you
know what I
get
don't
there?
care about? Disney. I don't give a shit about Disney.
But you'll go to downtown Disney to hang out, yeah.
I love downtown Disney. Like, because I'll go there a lot, especially like during WonderCon or whatever. Like, if
Oh, right, right.
Chris
Yeah, just
Uminga is
across the street.
there,
Yeah.
and he'll be like, I got to go to Wonderground because I have to go buy my own art so I can
Yeah.
sell it.
Because
Same
I
thing.
ran out of prints and I need to
Dave,
get more. Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, and Disney gives me nothing. So,
Right.
or I don't know what the actual rule is. I shouldn't put that.
Yeah,
I
we don't
shouldn't
know the
say that. I
real
shouldn't speak for him in that
business
regard.
structure.
That's
Yeah.
100% not correct that I said that. I actually realized I'm like, no, that's not it. I think he just ran out. Or like Dave Perillo will be doing like the artist thing at Wonderground. I'll be like, I will be there.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
absolutely
Because
be there
you want to be there. Yeah, yeah.
you know what it is? Because they understand that the food has to be great at downtown Disney.
Right,
Like
right.
Disney is not going to half-ass it.
Where so I'm curious which spots are your do you have a top three in downtown Disney that you'd hit?
Well, if it's not crazy packed, Trader Sam's,
Oh,
just for
sure. At the hotel.
those
Yeah.
fried green beans alone are
Yeah.
some of my favorite things. Like those are just unbelievable.
What's
Um,
the sauce they do on the side of that?
it's like a wasabi ranch,
So
I
yeah,
think.
it's wasabi, right? Yeah, it's
Oh,
so
it's so
good.
good. And they also they're because I don't drink, their mocktails at Trader Sam's are
Oh, tasty. Yep.
unbelievably
Dude,
delicious.
same. I don't drink it either.
Yeah,
Like I
there
didn't
was
know
like I
that.
got like a raspberry pina colada there,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is the tastiest thing I've.
It's delicious. Yeah.
I used to go there and get they've discontinued them, but you would get a churro ice cream sandwich.
Oh my God.
You'd get like the coiled,
Yeah.
curled up two of them, like an apples and cinnamon churro with vanilla
Oh
ice
wow.
cream in the
That's
middle.
so hot and cold desserts, man. My top tier.
So good.
Apple pie with ice cream all day. So
I'm that way.
good.
I'm very big that way now. I've turned to blueberry pie with ice cream.
Oh, no way.
That
Yeah,
I actually haven't started to enjoy that more. I also used to be a big chocolate guy,
mhm.
and I've since shifted to
To just
fruitier
vanilla.
desserts. Yeah,
Oh, fruitier. Okay.
like more like key lime pie,
Yeah. Oh,
for
love a good
example.
key lime
Like
pie.
a good
Have
key lime pie.
you? Oh, I guess they have one in Hollywood. You've been to Pie Hole? Yeah.
Yeah, I have been to pie.
Yeah. They have
Yeah.
savory, but also
Their
like dessert
pie
pies.
hole, I think their big one was they used to have one in downtown, right around the corner from 82, the barcade.
Did they have a Pie
And
Hole
then
there? I know we have one in
there's
Orange as
one
well.
on Hollywood Boulevard, I think.
Yes, there's definitely one there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first one I tried. But
Ye-
they got me into pecan pie. Their pecan pie is delicious. And
There's
I'd
a
never really been a guy that gets that.
my friend and I, oh, we were at my friend Adam Todd Brown and we spent Thanksgiving in Vegas, and our dessert was a
That sounds
chocolate.
great.
It's awesome.
Dude,
It's so
did
good.
you say Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You have so
Thanksgiving
many
in
good food
Vegas is
options
great. The
there.
only bummer is when I go
Sounds
with people, they
awesome.
want to have a traditional Thanksgiving dinner, which is fine, but usually
Oh,
that's
right,
crazy
right.
expensive. I'm like, I would like ravioli today. But we got this chocolate pecan pie as our like the
uh,
dessert that was coming, and we were both like, why have we not had this
just
before?
floored,
Like
dude.
this is
Ah, that
so
sounds awesome.
unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Speaking of producers, this is what happens. All of a sudden, this is why we do the producer thing.
I thought that segment was done,
No,
but
I still have about 10 more names to go through.
let's do them.
So let's shout out. I'm going to start calling Yoda Old Grogu just to see what happens. Shout out to the ghost of Dave Thomas. Your Wendy's guy? What's your favorite fast food, by the way?
Oh, that's a tough one. I hate to say Jersey Mike's is very good.
Jersey Mike's does a good sandwich.
But I know that's not classic
Yeah,
fast
like
food
let's
answer,
pull
you know?
cold cuts out of there.
Yeah. Gosh, what do I
The big ones, the eat in your car.
yeah, In and Out is open so late that I really appreciate that they're open late to just get a cheeseburger that won't make me sick.
Oh, wow. Sorry, the Maharaja has arrived and doesn't
Dude,
want to get diarrhea from a
yeah.
burger he gets at 1 a.m.
You're supposed to get
Yeah.
it.
Why it's there.
Yeah, you're doing it for the experience. Yeah, an In-N-Out cheeseburger, but so Del Taco is a big deal for
Yeah.
Orange County.
Del Taco.
So that's a definite go-to. Trying to think of something people may not know, but fast food's something that's universal, right?
Yeah.
Are you Taco Bell or Del Taco?
I'm Taco Bell. I like
Taco
their
Bell.
creativity more.
I was furious when they took that Mexican pizza off the menu.
Oh, see, that to me
Love a Mexican
tastes
pizza.
bad, but I
It
was
always
furious.
always tasted bad.
Yeah, I never liked it. I was furious
Oh,
when they
okay.
took out the double decker, when they took the
Oh,
double decker tacos out that they had done,
okay.
and also the fire Doritos Locos taco.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I would get a cheesy gordita crunch with the
With that
fire
shell.
taco,
Ah, sounds
and
good.
I'm telling you what, I love classic street Mexican style food, but
Yes.
I have not had anything from a taco truck that can compare
To that one
flavor
taco.
assault
Yeah.
of a cheesy gordita crunch. It is the most insane flavor palette that has ever existed.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever dove into that, so if it's available, I will try it.
The regular cheesy gordita crunch still delightful, but
Yeah.
I'm a Burger King guy.
Ooh,
I know.
you never see them, so you don't think about it anymore.
I live near the Back to the Future Burger King.
Really?
The one from Back to the Future in Burbank.
Wait, Back to the Future 2 then.
I think it's the first one when he's like leaving, he
Oh,
catches on and like they take off. But
oh, I see. I thought
so,
I thought they used a Burger King for one of the like other locations.
yeah, no, it's in the very beginning, I think, of the
Oh, awesome.
yeah.
I so their original chicken sandwich is still like goated to me. When they brought that up in that TV series Beef, that how how Steven Yeun's character would always go and have two, or no, how many? Four original chicken sandwiches
Yeah.
his character would eat. They're still so good.
I used to eat 2 double whoppers when I was younger.
We used to all eat so much more like younger. So you said I you know the California burrito? Are you
I'm a fan of the
verse in
California
that?
burrito. Yeah, I've enjoyed
In
it.
college, man, we used to eat two of those and they're massive. Like,
Yeah, well, you were also burning so much calories.
yeah,
Like now if I even look at that stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna
can't do it. Yeah.
shout out to the scene in Lost City where Brad Pitt dies. Shout out to Aldo Vargas is a couple months behind on his podcast, but he'll hear this eventually. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Mr. Billy Beck. Shout out to the Tubi Terror Bunny says the strike may be over, but egg Bob Iger anyway because f*** 'em. All right. Shout out to Bart Fartigan. Shout out to Dan Adamski, world's humblest man. And finally, shout out to the amazing Norm from Cheers. And again, if you want your name said, by all means, sign up, patreon.com/Jeff May. You might be able to inspire, excuse me, some of this really amazing conversation that we had about burgers and all that jazz and downtown Disney and brioche buns and all that. Or if you are a member of the tier and somehow I didn't say your name, it's because I don't know it. You might want to hurry up and message me. I don't think that's the case, but you might want to get that information to me just in case. It's okay. Back to the non-sponsored content, I guess, in a way, technically. So we're yesterday's is a pin company that you are co-owner.
Yes, yes. Me and my friend started that company in 2015, I believe, like summer 2015. And yeah, and we're still going. We'll be at San Diego Comic Con in July. And every year I tell myself that I'm not doing it anymore. And
Dude,
yeah, we all say that. And then we
every
go
year.
back
I'm
every
like, I'm not
July.
going to
Every
Comic-Con.
July.
I'm
Yep.
not going to Comic-Con. I'm just not doing it.
Doing it. No.
And then I
Can't
do it.
handle it. And then let's go.
Yeah, last year I bought someone's hotel off them because they were like
Oh
looking.
yeah.
But anyway, I was like, I'll take it. I
Yeah.
guess I'm going.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is really nice or whatever.
But it's also, but every time I'm there, I'm like, this was a bit of a mistake. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's good that I go,
It's
but also like,
you get exhausted is all it is, you know. It's a very exhausting experience.
yeah, it is a bit tiring. So you guys like it's generally it's obviously in animal pins and you
Mhm.
guys cover a lot of ground on there. But one of the things I notice is that you guys do focus on like very clever, like I know isn't I mean, literally, coincidentally, the clever girl pin,
Yeah, yeah, we
that's
made
like
that
one of your
one.
biggest sellers, isn't it?
Oh yeah, very popular. Yeah,
It's
it's
the
funny because we like to discontinue stuff after we feel everyone has this, you know. But there's certain ones that no matter how many shows we do, we're like, didn't these people already get this thing? And it does so well. Yeah, that's a
like
very popular one.
what are some of those ones? We got clever
Oh
girl.
sure,
It's
so
a
Clever
very
Girl.
prettified, it's a yassified velociraptor,
Yeah, right.
right?
Which obviously a classic line in Jurassic Park.
In nondescript dinosaur film.
Right, right, right. I designed three pins in 2015 that were like, oh, let's see if these sell or whatever, you know? And one of those was the Boba Fett Boba Cup, where it's designed
Bubble
similar to his
tea.
helmet, yeah, with boba balls in it and stuff. And that still crushes. There's a ghost with an old cordless phone to its ear, and it says Boo You Whore on it.
Was
Very
that the one you
popular.
designed as well, or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's got to feel really good that you just on a lark created something that has dug its heels into the comic book,
Yeah,
right?
it's because I've designed duds too, you know? So like,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, no, it does, it's cool when so many people share it. I almost in the like hustle of working the conventions and moving the pins and all that, I sometimes just forget that I did the work to like make the art, you know,
It's just
because I'm
become
like,
a ubiquitous pin that exists.
right, it's just like in the ether and I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, I made that thing, you know? There's so much stuff that's been bootlegged that I've designed. And this goes back to like making memes forever ago, and then
You're
people
right.
take the meme I created and print it on t-shirts and all this
You
stuff.
cut
And
your name out of it.
yeah, and it's never ended, you know. But I've definitely learned that it's just kind of once you put art out there, it's a little tough because the universe does own it after that. And
Well, they'll decide that they own it.
right. And so I've stopped being upset or angry about that stuff. But man, in my 20s, I'd lose it when that stuff
Yeah,
happened.
people are
You
stealing
know?
money from you.
Yeah. I
That's why
remember, I
you would
think,
lose it. It's because they are literally stealing from you. And I know that we have
yeah.
this, like, you kind of have to be cool about it now, but like
Dude, I used
the
to do
internet was,
full-on campaigns of like, yo, everyone yell at this company because they're stealing. And my friends would, go hard for me. And so I remember College Humor had a side business of doing t-shirts, and all of it was stolen art, like, or ideas and stuff.
yeah,
But it's tough because in that space, jokes are very commonly thought up by the same people, you know? So who's to say it was directly stolen? Because we can all
we call that
say
parallel
have a
thinking in the
yeah,
industry.
you
Yeah.
know, and I believe that, they may have not stolen from artists and whatnot, but I was so mad when I saw one of my pieces that was so similar taken by them. But when I have friends in the comedy scene, and when they started posting about it, then the owner had to make an announcement, officially.
What'd they
Like,
say?
they said this, what I just said about Parallel. They're like,
Oh,
we
yeah.
didn't steal anything. They're like, if anything, we saw some of their old art, which we had done a similar thing before, so we could say they stole from us. And it was a non-apology, but
Yeah.
it had common sense in it too. So it was
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, that'll happen.
Yeah.
I've actually been the only, like, sometimes an aggregator will steal my tweets.
Oh yeah,
That
right.
that happened. That used to happen. The only one that ever cut me out,
Mm,
that like cut my name out, was World Star.
weird.
World
Right.
Star would cut me out. And I think, I mean, like, the honest answer to that, which is like, it's funny to me why, but I'm like, I'm white.
Yeah, right.
I'm a
I
white
think that's
guy.
fine.
Like, I
Yeah,
get it. Like, all
right.
the other ones don't. And I'm like, yeah, they cut me out because I'm white. Like, fuck you
Yeah.
guys. But also, like, I know why you did it. And
Does World Star exist anymore?
I mean, they exist in the same way that, everything
Right.
exists in some
Right.
or
It's just
another. Like, I'm
there.
sure I like they have Instagram, like it's all an Instagram aggregator thing now
Yeah.
where,
Recycling stuff.
yeah, they just like, and it was like something stupid where I was like, oh, I just now found out that Mr. Belding's name is a play on words. Like, it was like
Oh,
it
ding.
just occurred to me now as a 30 something year old man. And
Right.
they just like
The
joined that. But the other
I
ones, like, I've had ones where, like, huge accounts would share it with my name on it, and it did nothing for my career, except sometimes in the comments, people would be like, "That's my old history teacher."
That's awesome.
Like, that would show up a lot, where it's like, "Can't believe that my old history teacher is on this whatever account,
Right, on this
like,
thing I follow or
30
whatever.
AF or what, some stupid like that."
So that's an interesting parallel with, like, exposure and things being in the public eye. I think we're all so used to being sold to, right? Bombarded with it, like, buy this, buy that, that it doesn't even matter if you get the exposure, because cutting through and making someone even want whatever you're selling is going to be very difficult, and so, in the sense of me doing Kickstarters or doing pins, toys, whatever it is, exposure doesn't really mean someone's going to want to buy your thing,
No, but
um
collaboration does.
yeah,
And that exposure comes through collaboration, which I think is really great. So,
that's
like,
true.
for
The artist
example,
edition stuff.
like your stretch out stuff, like Tom Whalen fans are going to show up to support. Dan Larson fans are going to show up
Right.
to support. Like, doing this podcast, I know a couple really great people are going to show up and they're going to get something because this is going to fit their needs perfectly. And it really, I think that stands to wit that community is so much bigger than the aggregate.
Right. Than
You
just
know,
eyes, right? Than
like,
just like
the algorithm, and I've recently been going out on a tear about this, like how art is being destroyed by computer math. And
right.
so now
Or being buried by it, right?
creators are chasing the algorithm. They're chasing
Mhm.
it.
Right.
It's they're chasing the dragon of exposure
Right.
so they can get this career thing. But what they're doing is they're doing like really embarrassing things.
It
Like, they know
sucks.
engagement is what boosts you. So they'll do
Yeah.
things like they'll misspell a caption on purpose.
Oh, interesting. I haven't
So
seen
then
that
people
one.
will be like, you misspelled the caption.
Right.
Nice spelling, dip. And so it's like, but
But that's
the
engagement.
algorithm doesn't care. And so these people are like, I made $400 on that one reel or something like that. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, how's that feel?
Yeah, but like
Aren't you like
being dumb,
embarrassed?
I
I do feel
guess.
like we've kind of gotten rid of embarrassment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I feel like we need to bring it back.
I have some
Bullying
shame.
should not have gone away, in my opinion. Like, I think bullying should have.
Bullying makes strong people.
Dude, if I wasn't bullied as a kid, I would not be where I am today.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
100%
Same,
would
I'm
not be.
sure.
Like, I hate to say this because I know the negative repercussions of bullying on certain children.
Yeah.
I fully understand that. I hated it, but
I
boy,
was gonna say we could agree it's very sad times when it
it
happens. Like
is.
it's
It
not
is. But
good.
when you get through it, it's like the hottest fires make the strongest iron, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but also like I get that like not everyone's strong enough to withstand that. And some
Mm-hmm.
people
Yeah. And it can be sad. Yeah,
do
yeah.
self-harm and stuff like that. I fully understand that, but I'm like,
Yeah.
but also,
It toughens you up.
I don't know, maybe we'd have less YouTube pranksters running around the
Oh my
streets.
God. I was in my comic shop and these two kids showed up and they looked like they 12 or 13, they looked so young, 12 or 13 or something. And they just walked in, they're like, "What's the most expensive book you have?" And the owner doesn't take any and he could tell they're just kind of like trolling. Usually when I see that behavior, there's a camera running, because they just
Yeah.
want content. But there was nothing, and I was like, this is so weird. So he was just like, I don't know. He's like, let me know if you want something and I could bring it out. And he's like, yeah, I was gonna probably spend like a band or whatever. And he's like, we're just gonna drop some racks on a book. And the owner didn't know what they're talking about. He's like, just show me the money and I'll show you some comics. But these kids were just like on a weird tear, just trying to be cool, but I don't know for what purpose. It but it was that prank mentality of like, oh, I can't wait to get one up on someone.
In a way, I'm glad we've ruined the earth for them.
Right, live in it.
They don't deserve a good earth.
You're
Piece
not
of
gonna
shit.
play in it.
Yeah. Let the algorithm be your habitat. Little piece of shit.
Yeah,
I do
it
remember
was
like
weird.
somebody, I saw this viral tweet of one guy being like, I can't believe, like, there was like, what kids want to be. And like, it was like YouTube star was like the number one thing of like what 8-year-olds wanted to be.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, you believe this? And I'm like,
Like a
dude,
streamer or
that's,
whatever.
yeah. But also at the same time,
Yeah. Mhm.
that's the new actor.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's just
that's just the
celebrity
new,
is all they're saying. Yeah.
like these guys, these older guys that are like, what about astronaut? Like, when have we given a shit about astronauts?
Yeah.
It's not the
When's
60s,
the
you
last
dip.
astronaut too that you
Yeah,
like thought about or knew about?
yeah, right.
Yeah, a
Name an
long time
astronaut
ago.
that isn't dead. Name an astronaut that isn't dead. How about that? Just
Literally, yeah,
name
just that.
an
Yeah.
astronaut that is not dead. It'd be very hard. But I do like where's this? Like this society's falling apart. I'm like, the answer would have been actor in the 80s, pal.
Right, right,
Like it
right.
would or rock star.
Yeah, the most generic, yeah, the term of
Like
rock star, yeah.
kids want to do art, really, or marine biologist or veterinarian.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, something with animals.
yeah. They want to make art, and what the most prevalent art forms are the ones they're going to want. When
Mhm.
they get older, closer to our age, and they see how hard that career is, a lot of them will turn tail and run. Some people will stick with it and flounder, and some people will stick with it and their talent will bring them through. And you are one of those people who has combined tenacity with talent to create really awesome shit.
Thanks, man. I I don't have so it's in terms of social media or being an online presence or whatever, my following, so to speak, or the eyes on me always feels like it's not much at all. And so even though I've succeeded in my endeavors, it always feels like I'm still small potatoes, regardless of
It's
what it is.
it seems to me the energy is more behind the curtain. It has man behind
Uh,
the curtain energy
yeah, yeah.
because like you are very successful. Like the stuff that you make is great. Whether I could see the face you made when I said that, where like you don't necessarily fully agree with me when I said you're very successful, but how do you pay your bills?
I have a day job still,
You
but
do.
yeah, yeah, I do. But it's because we live in California, and
If you were living in Duluth,
yeah, yeah,
this,
then
right?
maybe toys
Um,
and pins could do. No, I think I could probably be okay. The reason I really love my day job and it's work from home, and I have it because I like it, you know. And so I guess, you know, if I didn't have it, I'd still be okay. But I do it because you know, I'm an art director at a toy company for my
yeah.
day job, which is such a
So like,
parallel
yeah, it's
to
pretty
what I'm doing
parallel. Yeah.
anyways. Yeah, yeah.
It's a
So
job.
in
It's a job you love.
yeah, and in that sense, you know, it's still succeeding through art. The only reason I was hired and kept at the place I work at, which I've been there over 12 years now, you know, I've been there a long time. But the only question the VP of my department had asked before he hired me, he asked, "Can you draw?" And I didn't think he'd ask me that at all, you know? And I thought about it because I hadn't illustrated in a while, but I'm like, "Yeah, I can draw," you know? He's like, "All right, well, you start on Monday." And it always stuck with me, man. I was like, and I realized how important that skill is. Like someone that has a thought or an idea and can express it onto paper is so valuable. And
It's the
it's I think
skeleton to which you have
it's
to build the
yeah,
entire body
to
on. Yeah.
all ideas, to create anything and visually at least, you know? And that always stuck with me, and I think that moment brought value into me believing in those ideas, and it's become, you know, an action figure and an ML pin. It all starts from, you know, this
Yeah.
point of, like, creating some form of 2D art.
Well, I think it's important that we all head on over to Instagram and follow at ROCOM. That's Rocom. That's you. Is it Rocom?
Rocom, yeah, that's
It
the
is Rocom. Okay.
pronunciation, yeah.
Rocom, ROCOM on Instagram to get more information. Also follow at Rocom Toys. It's the same thing, but with toys at the end. So we'll bring up that massive Instagram follow. We'll pull it back up.
Yeah.
Do that because you are incredibly talented. You make incredible work. While you
Man.
guys are at Rocom on Instagram, definitely check out the Kickstarter. If not, my suggestion would be to Google Mighty Maniacs with an X,
At the end, yeah.
MIGHTYMANIAX, and then Kickstarter, and it'll bring you right there. Definitely check that out. I know I'm going to get at least a couple figures and some trading cards so I can open them when I must break you.
Thanks, man.
Um,
I have something so top secret that even only a couple of my friends have seen it, and I'd love to show it to the camera now because it incentivizes anyone to wait to the end, and whoever did wait till the end gets a little treat if they're a fan of my toys. So should I do that?
well, I could say you could. The only problem is that this is audio only.
Oh, it is
So
okay. Okay.
so that would be a waste. But if you want to show it to me and I can react, and then they could be like,
Oh
Jeff
yeah, yeah,
May
yeah. Okay,
audibly
so
reacts to.
we're very close to funding right now. You
You
know, maybe.
yes, I looked at that. You're 99% of the way funded.
Oh, whoa! I didn't know it was 99. That's
You are
amazing.
well, you have a need of 30K.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what your
need a
minimum is.
30K. Right, right.
You're at 29,138.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So I think since we
Very
started
close
the I think since we started the podcast, it actually went up by a couple bucks because
by
I
a
looked
little
at it
bit.
before as well. So somebody I think ordered something while we were going.
While we're recording, that's great news.
And upon release, there will still be, if you're on the Patreon, about 20 days left. And if you're listening on the free feed, you still have about a week to go.
The so I believe that we will fund. You know, we're so
You
close.
will.
It'll get there. By the time people are listening to this, I imagine it's funded. But my real goal is to hit these stretch goals because I've designed crazy stuff for the line that I'd love to see happen. But it's all kind of like it's not blue sky, but it's always blue sky because it's whatever I want to do. But this is I'm gonna show you so audibly you can see, but I'm so
Oh,
excited
damn. That's so
to
cool looking.
hopefully make this thing because
Do you
it
want to say
fits.
what it is? Because you're showing it. We can
Uh,
describe it because it looks amazing.
it's kind of like the mystery of
Okay.
people
All right.
not
Oh
knowing
my
what we're
God.
looking at.
It
But it's
looks
so
so
perfect
cool.
for like a fantasy, you know, character. I think it fits so well. And like we just got this sculpt done maybe a week ago,
Is
but
that a stretch? Is
here's
that
a
going to be
different.
oh, cool.
Yeah, so there's 3 heads like usual. It's a
Well,
stretch goal.
so
It's
this will
it's
be a
like the
stretch goal.
50K one, but I'm thinking of moving it to 40K because I just want to make it. So
So if it hits 40K, what does that mean? Does that mean that everybody at a certain level gets that, or is it becomes
it,
an
it means
add-on?
it means I'll have been able to pay for the molds to make it so they can buy one at that point.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, because it 40K allows me to create a mold to make the toy.
Can I
So
can I ask you what the colorway would be on that?
ooh, I think it would probably be like colder colors, like a really light cold gray type color to start with.
Oh, that's
Uh,
sick.
Yeah, like a bone color is what I'd like to use. I don't know if that's a
Like
little
a light, like a
lead in.
light. Why don't we just say a creamy slate?
Yeah, I
That
think
a
that with
creamy slate would be a
yeah,
good
yeah.
way to describe that color.
Yeah, I'd probably want to do that. And then like bright pink accents, I think, with it.
Okay, well, let's make that happen because I want to get it. Like,
I want it. That's why I'm
yeah,
probably
I
like
want
gunning
it.
for it.
I want
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I want
So
that. Folks, head on over to at Rocom on Instagram and at Rocom Toys. Check out the Mighty Maniacs. First off, check out the Mighty Maniacs line because it's amazing. Something that I do want to ask, and I want to ask this so the freeloaders can hear it because I think it's important. You do set up at conventions and
oh
you
sure,
sell like
yeah,
you
yeah.
have the Mighty Maniacs setups.
I do,
That's
yeah.
you have
So
a
then
great display.
oh
It's
thanks, man.
awesome. Where can people see you in the real world, or where can they order Mighty Maniacs? How can they get them if they don't see you at
So
a con, or where can they see you at a con to get them?
I I do cons for the pin company all the time, but for the toys specifically, Monster Palooza in Pasadena will be the next one, which will be the end of May. And then I won't be at another convention until Designer Con, which will be
Around
November.
Christmas time. Yeah.
And they're moving that to Las Vegas. So yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it's not Anaheim this year. So I'm pretty certain I'll still go because gotta have Thanksgiving in Vegas, right?
wait, is
So
it the weekend of Thanksgiving?
it might be.
If
If
that's the
not, maybe
case,
a week before.
I'm going to extend my stay.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And
Yeah.
then we could have Thanksgiving together. Yeah.
That would be so
Um,
nice.
yeah, yeah. So those are the two conventions, Monsterpalooza and Designer Con. But there's already a whole line of Mighty Maniacs people could pick up, and that would be at mightymaniacs.com. That's MANIAX for
Yep.
Maniacs, or rocomtoys.com would take them there.
But definitely check those out, people. They are really cool. I have a couple myself, some like this amazing Dan Larson one that you sent me, the Secret Galaxy. So it's got like the kind of photon helmet or the laser tag helmet
Yeah,
energy
the laser tag helmet. Yep.
to it that he's so well known for. I have his vinyl pin on my bag.
Yeah.
His skull with the laser tag helmet vinyl pin. So I love that you guys got to work together. Like the fact that you're working with Dan Larson, the fact that and like we've talked about all the names we've talked about before,
Yeah, yeah,
guests
sure.
of the show, Tom Whalen, right?
Yeah,
David Igo, Corey Privatera, Science Patrol over there, like
yeah, yeah.
all these people who've been on the show, like you all know each other. Like it's this really wonderfully interconnected group of people that are there supporting each other, lifting each other up. There is no competition. It's just
No.
support.
Yeah.
And that to me is what this industry should be all about. Not about putting your competitors out of business, but exalting and lifting each other up because there's enough room for everybody.
No, 1,000%. What's that? The boat and sea analogy, where something it raises all ships.
Oh, a rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's how I see it in the art community. It's like the more we help each other, we're all gonna
Returns.
reap the
Yeah.
rewards. Yeah, of that.
Yeah. Like and like it's really clear. Like, you know, Tom Whalen likes your stuff, contributes to your Kickstarter with money and then with a pin,
Right,
and then
right.
that brings his fans to you, which adds your fan base. There, Dan Larson, same thing. Like
Yeah, we all
it's
cross
awesome, man.
pollinate and build together. Yeah, no, it's been awesome, and I feel lucky to have met you and all the friends we've made in this. I don't want to say industry because it's so many different industries, but
It's this
it's
universe,
it's
I
the
think.
shared universe. Yeah, a thousand percent.
It's the vinyl toy universe, which I
Right.
I've really been excited to establish myself in there. But for those of you that are anything else you want to plug?
Yes, the show may have passed, but it's a show that happens every month. Permanent Damage Comics Show. I'll be set up there for the Orange County version of it at Nuclear Comics. That is it's literally this Saturday. So it will
Okay,
have
so
already
of a recording, so it was Saturday, April 27th.
it was on the 27th, and that's a great show where indie creators, comic creators meet up and we have our own artist alley. And
Do
so
you
they
sell Mighty Maniacs there?
I will, yeah. And
It would have
yeah.
been nice if you had said that when I asked you where you were showing up.
Right, right. It's
Jesus
because
Christ, man.
it's so soon.
How rigid do you think conventions meant?
That's such a local and indie show. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of like load and setup, but it has all that same stuff.
So is it always like the last Saturday?
Possibly. I don't know if they're on a set schedule, but Permanent Roadhouse Records is a shop in LA. I don't know if it's the Glendale area or Atwater, But Permanent Damage happens once a month, and it's a really great indie comics show that anyone should check out.
Yes, that is a really great thing. Permanent Roadhouse. I have performed there.
Yeah, yeah, they have live music
I've
there.
done stand up there. I've walked down that very treacherous
Straight.
driveway to get down there,
Yeah,
to get down to like it is that's steep,
right.
but it is a really, really great spot too. So I'm glad you're going to be there. That's very exciting.
Yeah, yeah. This is my first time attending. I know a lot of creators and friends that do that show, but
Oh,
they're
who else is
finally
there?
doing an Orange County one. Oh yeah, the flyer. It's personally like friends. Alex Pardee will be setting up.
One of my favorite artists of all time.
Tom Neely, who does the Henry and Glenn Forever comics,
Oh,
will be
which
there.
you've done with the Mighty Maniac stuff, right? Or
I did a
with your
vinyl
toy
toy
with
with Tom.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We did these kind of anime robot, like almost Astro Boy version of Glenn Danzig and this
Henry
Tetsujin
Rollins.
version of Henry Rollins. Yeah. If I could pull up the flyer real
I was
quick.
trying to find the flyer and I couldn't.
Oh, I'll just go to permanent damages of page. That should do it. Yeah, here we go. So this is the first time they're going to be in Orange County for this. But Alex Pardee, Andrew McLean, who does Headlopper, Tom Neely, Graham Chaffee, Tina Horn, Rick Spears,
Oh yeah, look
Chuck
at that.
Beebe, Harry Nordinger, Keenan M. Keller, Alex Delaney, Greg Hinkle,
Oh yeah,
Zach
it's
Soto.
stacked. I'm looking at it right now. Cam
Yeah,
Hathaway, Cam Xavier, Nick Ruby, Chris Anderson, Zach Soto. So this is stacked, and this will have been last April 27th at Nuclear
right.
Comics in Laguna Hills. So hopefully you guys were around there. Hopefully we're going to see more of that with you in the future. We're going to be able to get more access to you live to be able to get a hold of some of your stuff. I love your work. I really do, and I love your work almost as much as I like you as a person. Uh,
Thanks, Jeff.
which
I'm glad we're friends.
I am too.
And
Well, we're gonna have to eat.
yeah, yeah,
Just
that's
gonna
what
have
I'm
to
excited
we're
for.
gonna
Yeah.
have to eat. For those of you that are freeloading, this is gonna be the end of the show. If those of you that are on patreon.com/JeffMay, you're gonna get a little bonus content. So that's very exciting. And if you wanted to hear that bonus content and or get early access, 1 week early access to uncensored episodes with bonus content, head on over to patreon.com/JeffMay, where you can get also exclusive access to Ugg Fine, my co-exclusive with Kim Crawl, plus early access to Nerd with Dre Alvarez, where we're talking about toys, baby, because that's how I pay my bills. You can also get stuff in the mail. I open trading cards on my YouTube. I Must Break You, and then I send them out to people that pay me because I cannot have this many trading cards in my house. It will be a problem. You can also check out all Tom and Jeff Watch Batman on the Gamefully Unemployed Network with Tom Ryman, as well as all the stuff I do with Adam Todd Brown on the You Don't Even Like Podcasts Network. Until then, Mint on Card. Oh, I forgot Mint on Card. The second Friday of every month at Blast in the Past on beautiful Magnolia in Burbank, California. You can see me perform live every second Friday of the month at a vintage toy store because again, I'm on brand. For now, say goodbye to the freeloaders.
Later, guys. Thank you for listening, and hope
For now, say goodbye to the freeloaders.
you soon.
I think you'd be a fool not to collect some of this stuff. So thank you all very much, freeloaders, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye. Hey everyone, our artwork is created by Justin T. Brown, who can be found at Artness by Justin Brown on Instagram, as well as artnessbyjustinbrown.com. That dope music you heard is by Troy Nababon, available at Troy Nababon on Instagram, as well as at troynababon.com. Nababon is spelled Nababan, and boy, does that shred. Thank you all so much for listening. See you next time.